Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name's David Austin, and sitting across from me looking exactly like the 4th of July.
It makes me want to have a hot dog real bad.
God, you do that impression so well. Jennifer
I don't
Coolidge.
really. I don't
You
really.
do.
No.
Sitting across from me is my beautiful bride, Londa Joanne Sherwood Austin, and wow, I just love that dress. You told me you bought it because you knew I'd like it.
Yeah.
But it's flattering. What does that mean?
It just means it fits me correctly.
Oh, it fits you correctly, indeed.
I used to wardrobe people, and I haven't done it in a really long time, but I miss doing that because I love finding, the right garment to fit somebody's body.
Sure.
Shopping is hard.
And I can tell you this. Image consulting is part of what's done by Sherwood Austin Solutions. The Session with Londa and David's brought to you each week by Sherwood Austin Solutions. With over 40 years of combined sales success, Sherwood Austin Solutions can help diagnose and prescribe solutions for any problems in your business. A lot of business consultants only focus on the bottom line. But Sherwood Austin Solutions takes a holistic approach to make sure all of your goals are being met. Call Londa today at 509-491-2663. That number again, 509-491-2663. So she can sit down with the people who care about your company, the stakeholders, and brainstorm ways to make it more efficient, more financially successful, and an overall better place to work.
I love it.
Isn't that good?
Yeah.
And it's true. That's the best part.
Yeah.
Sherwood Austin Solutions, 509-491-2663. It's a great time to be in business. Why not be in business with us?
So call me maybe. Or you can text.
You can sing that, but you can't play it on this program because we don't pay royalties to musicians here.
Okay. Yeah, we for sure don't. No thanks.
There is a place you can go online called artlist.com, and you can get rights to some music. They've got a library that you can choose from. I decided not to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
That's good.
And that's because I don't have any interest in producing commercials for home use.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Hey, right at the top of this show,
Yes.
I just want to say to our listeners, everything's going to be okay.
Yes.
It's going to be okay. And I want to, for a moment, because the news is overwhelming, and the economy and violence and pandemic and war, and you can really get caught up in all of that.
Sure.
So I encourage you to really question everything you're thinking. And what I mean by that is don't tell yourself stories about what's happening that, aren't true. Let's stick to the facts. The facts are I'm safe, my family's safe, and everything's going to be okay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
just want some good news this morning.
I get what you're talking about because we had a mass casualty situation in Illinois over the weekend. There was a shooting. A 22-year-old kid who had a licensed firearm on his person stopped that killer.
Yes, that's
good news.
That's what legal carry is for.
Yes, that's exactly right. So that was a big story over the weekend.
Yeah.
Of course, leading up to the weekend, Joe Biden went overseas and met with the leader of Saudi Arabia, who...
Wow, that caused some...
That's exactly... The fist bump heard round the world.
Yeah, it ruffled some feathers for sure.
We got inflation news higher than it's been in 40 years.
So I tried to pick our listeners up and put them in a better place.
I'm explaining
you're dragging us all down
I'm
again.
explaining why you're starting with that because there's been some pretty big stuff that's happened. However, the news that I'm most excited about that happened over the weekend is J-Lo is J-Lo no more. She and Ben Affleck got married over the weekend in Las Vegas.
Not only did they get married, but she took his name.
Yep, Jennifer Lynn Affleck. No more J-Lo. I got to tell you, there's something weird going on with me. Maybe it's because I turned 50. Maybe it's because there's hormonal shifts going on with andropause.
Yeah.
I got a little teary-eyed looking at their selfies from their wedding this morning.
I think it's adorable. And part of why we love it, you and I, is because we love love.
That's exactly right.
And we will always celebrate love. I don't care what it is. And I think the fact that she took his name just tells me that she feels very locked into this.
That's right.
Very solid and very good about this relationship. And I know personally about that because I was not intending to add your last name to mine. When we got married, I had no intention at all. No, I said to you, I'm keeping my maiden name. I gave it up once. I'm never giving it up again. And truly, I didn't give it up. I added yours. So I thought, I'm happy with me and I'll add you to me.
Yes.
And
isn't that nice?
Yeah. It causes some confusion sometimes whenever we book our vacation property. We have a Wyndham timeshare. Because it's Sherwood Austin, sometimes they'll call you Mr. Sherwood.
Mr. Sherwood, do you want to come down to your meeting, Mr. Sherwood? I'm sorry, there's no Mr. Sherwood here, but thanks for the call.
Yeah, that's what you do. That's how you get out of it. Hey, I have a story about that, actually.
Okay.
People may not know this, but another one of my many streams of income is that I have so many points with Wyndham, I can't spend them all each year. And so I actually rent them out to people. And I just got a message last night in the middle of the night from somebody who rented points from us to go to Hawaii.
Okay.
And she said to me, we could not be happier with this trip. And the place, they got a condo.
Right.
That it was going to cost them $2,500 for their stay someplace else.
And how much did it cost them to stay with us?
The condo booking through me cost her just a pinch under $1,000 for the same amount of stay. I can't remember how many nights they're staying.
I think that's too deep a discount, but that's just my opinion.
And that's just the going rate for what I charge
sure,
right now.
You're good.
Anyway,
you're kind.
But she's thrilled out of her mind because the condo's beautiful, the facility, the resort is beautiful, and it's got a full kitchen. And so she said, we've only eaten out twice while we've been here. We've been able to cook all our meals. So for them, it's been an extravagant trip to Hawaii, but on their budget.
Right.
And so, reach out to me because I still have 350,000 points.
A big fat gang of points.
Available. Yeah. And I just found another 107,000 in RCI, which is another part of that I didn't even know I had.
And that's for overseas trips?
Not necessarily. There's 5 properties in New Orleans that are available through RCI. So we're going to do a New Orleans weekend pretty soon.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
David Michael's going to come visit and we'll go to New Orleans.
Our very youngest baby child
That's right.
is going to come visit. Our very youngest baby child is the tallest baby child.
I don't know. He and Ben are pretty neck and neck right now. They
I think
both shot up.
Yeah, they did, and I haven't measured. So I don't know. Our tiniest baby children
are the biggest of the family.
They got healthier and stronger.
I don't know how it happened. I don't know what happened.
I don't know. And this episode might seem a little maybe silly in moments for people, and good.
Well,
I just want to say that. I just want to say that because listen, I'm feeling the heaviness of the world and life right now.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for those light moments. I had a rough week last week. Rough.
Okay, tell me about that.
I had my very best guy friend besides you was in a horrible accident. And there was a death involved in the accident. And it was awful. And I didn't sleep for days. And then I had a work situation that was, I keep describing it this way. It was logistically the most difficult real estate transaction I've ever done.
And a reminder, Londa is a licensed realtor and can help you no matter where you live. She's licensed specifically right now in Washington, but can help you devise a goal and set up a plan to be able to buy wherever you are.
Oh, yeah. This last year, I've done business in Florida, Louisiana, Washington, Oregon.
That's right.
I mean, all over the place.
That's right.
Arizona. So,
and I'm a licensed mortgage loan officer and branch manager for a tiny, tiny branch of Envoy Mortgage here in my hometown of Lafayette, Louisiana.
Right.
My national MLS number, my NMLO, is 487-410. And the only reason I say that is because...
So you don't get in trouble?
That's good. You have to do that.
That's good. I
Weird.
like that.
It's the weirdest thing ever.
And the thing is, we have so many connections all over. If we can't do it, we can find somebody who can.
Well, that's the point,
and
right?
That's beautiful. I love that. And helping people connect, just like this family who's in Hawaii right now.
That's right.
I just helped them connect. It was so funny. She posted on Facebook, "Hey, we're thinking about going to Hawaii. Give me all your tips." And, we don't have a ton of money. We want to do it, but we want to do it on a budget. So I private messaged her. I was like, I might be able to help you out.
And we've done the same thing with our resort in Orlando for people going to Disney.
Yep. We have availability on property.
I think we shouldn't be less than half, though. I think we should be about half the going rate rather than less than half.
Well, when I say going rate, there's a certain conversion of dollar per point that people typically use in the Wyndham system.
I got you.
So that's what I'm talking about.
So you're following that.
Yeah. That's the conversion rate. And, inflation has gone up by 40%. So maybe I need to raise our rates.
Well.
And hey, speaking of side hustles, listen, I cannot encourage you enough to start Airbnb-ing your extra stuff or space or whatever, and if you need a referral, I've got a referral code, and please contact me for that, because apparently I get like a little kickback from Airbnb if someone uses my referral code.
Which is great.
Yeah. But I mean, we've got like 8 or 9 bookings this month on the RV that just sits at our house when we're not using it.
And it's more than 8 or 9 days. It's 8 or 9 bookings. We've been full almost the entire month. It's been nuts.
It's been crazy. I think we get somewhere between $60 and $160 a night. It depends on the Airbnb does this like floating rate thing.
Right.
But we've made like $1,500 this month, which is great.
For nothing.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, not for nothing. It takes me an hour to clean it and turn it and sanitize everything between.
Sure.
So there is some time involved. You can hire somebody to do that. I know somebody that Airbnb's in Washington, and they hire someone to do it. But I just do it myself. Like I'm doing laundry while I'm.
It's therapeutic for you.
Else. It really is. Cleaning and laundry is very therapeutic for me. It's how I unwind.
Yeah, it's not at all therapeutic for me though. So.
Well, and right now
I love just going to the office when you're doing cleaning of the RV. I love it. I think it's great.
And right now I'm studying for my Louisiana real estate license.
Yes,
so
you are.
I'm doing all that laundry, and it takes a long time to do the laundry because it's a sanitation setting on the washer and dryer. And so I just study while it's running. What do I care?
That makes sense. Okay.
I'm making money in my sleep.
I want to lodge a small complaint against ABC News this morning. On Monday morning, they ran a thing.
I'm sure they're listening.
Let me tell you, they ran a thing on Good Morning America about rent versus buy, and if it's a good decision to rent versus buy. They didn't mention anything about why buying is a good decision. Not one thing. All they did was say, if you're going to live there 5 years or more, you should buy. That's all they said.
Oh, well.
And if you don't live there 5 years or more, you're losing money.
That's not true.
Well, that's what they said.
It depends on the market.
And I disagree wholeheartedly in that. And here's what I mean. I've said this forever. A house is a savings account that you can sleep in.
You've said it forever since you learned it from me.
When you put that money into your down payment, right? They talked about how the upfront costs are higher than rent. Well, yeah, because you're buying it. You're not renting it. But they're not higher than rent because you can make them back.
Right.
That's the magic. That's wealth building is the reason to buy.
Yes.
If you want to be wealthier, buy, don't rent. Because when you rent, someone else is getting wealthy, not you.
I just talked to my hairstylist, Raven. Yeah. We were having a discussion about this because she rents an apartment, really wants to buy a house.
Right.
And I said, if I were in your shoes, starting with my first home, I would buy a duplex, an owner-occupied duplex.
Yep.
That's what I would do. I'd live in one side, rent out the other. And I mean, I swear to you, that's the fastest way to wealth build.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
And you can buy a duplex and live in it for as little as 3.5% down, buying it with an FHA loan.
Yeah, that's incredible.
3.5% down. I bet you $50 is less than first and last month's rent on a comparable
Oh, that would be interesting to find out. It would depend again on your market.
Yes.
And it's funny, she said to me, yeah, but duplexes, all the people with cash are buying them up. And I said, yeah, I ran into that with a client in Washington about a month ago. And that's why your realtor matters, because we competed against 10 offers. There was an all cash offer. One of those was, and we still won.
And the reason you win is if you can communicate at all, in 30 days, it's all cash.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to give them a deep discount because it's cash. No, that's foolish.
When that loan closes, it's cash to the seller.
And let me tell you what you did that made it such a good offer, because you don't brag on yourself enough, and I think you should. What Londa did in this particular transaction, and I only know this because I was the lender on the transaction, is she filled out an addendum saying that the buyer was willing to have an enhanced down payment.
Yeah, increased down payment.
In case the house didn't appraise for the sale price up to $50,000. So if the house appraised for as much as $50,000 less, she was willing to bring in the difference.
She being the buyer.
Correct.
So there were a few things at play there. The list agent told me we were the only ones who used that document.
It's a great document.
It was really the only. I'm always looking for the advantage somewhere in the contract.
Yep.
And sometimes the advantage is your computation of time.
Right.
I mean, you've got to find out what's important to the seller, right? And then you give them what they want. Well, I knew the bottom line was the most important thing to the seller. So if we could have a higher bottom line, even than the cash offer, and that is what ended up happening. But also, so your realtor matters, being very strategic, being really good at negunegotiations is really important. But also in multiple offer, your buyer matters, because the more, I guess, the stronger position they can be in, the better as well.
Absolutely.
Because if you're in multiple offers and you've got, let's even use the example of maybe a first-time home buyer who, hasn't put a lot of cash away.
Sure.
And they're doing that 3.5% FHA loan, and they don't have a lot of money in the bank, and they just don't have a lot to bargain with.
Right.
That's definitely going to be a harder deal to win in multiple offer than when you've got, a buyer that's a little more flush.
Well, yeah. And, when you...
So
when
it's both. It's art and science. And
that's right. And knowing how to communicate is the most important thing. I've got a loan funding today where the buyer wanted to use the state down payment assistance program. And the list agent... Which is a great program. The list agent called me up and said, hey, David, are they good to go? And I was able to say... they're in great shape. And here's the good news. Unlike most of these kids that use the down payment assistance program, they actually have family members who could gift them the money if they needed to go that route. And let me tell you something. That is why they won that deal, because they knew that if the state didn't like the loan for some reason, it wasn't going to die. You know what I mean? And that's having a good team, I think, is the most important part, because you can have a great realtor and a crappy lender, and nobody wins in that situation. Right. You can have a great lender and a crappy realtor, and nobody wins in that situation. But if you have a lender who cares and works with your realtor, you have to have a good outcome. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I think team is the most important aspect of the home buying process.
Because when I was talking to Raven, my hairstylist, who's, doing all that, having that discussion, she said, well, I definitely want you on my team.
Right. Team is important.
It really is about the team. And it's the, not only when you're, okay, you guys have to look at the concepts we talk about. You have to look at them more broadly.
Right.
And how can I apply it to my life? Because we talk a lot about real estate, right?
We do, because
that's what we primarily do.
Right.
But you have to think, like, how can I apply this to my life? In your life, you've got to have a team. Like you talk about, you got to have a guy.
Right. Everybody needs a guy.
Yeah. And part of our team is in our life is like running our home. we got a bunch of guys.
Sure.
We got a lawn guy, and we got a pool guy, and we got a handyman guy, and we got a, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And we've got a pest guy, and they're not all guys, they're people. But
Right.
But
guy now is asexual. The
is
term
it a
guy.
gender neutral?
You're allowed
term?
to say guy now. And dude, don't we? Bruh. I would say 30% of our kids, and we have myriad children. 30% of them say bruh to you.
Yes.
And that's interesting.
That would primarily be Ada Grace.
Yeah.
Calls me bruh.
But David does it too, and I bet Benjamin does the exact same thing.
I think Ada and I have a unique relationship that's a little more casual because we were roommates.
Oh, I got you.
Right? And so we developed a different kind of relationship.
And a shorthand language, kind of a pidgin English where you don't have to say the full word. You can just go, oh! And
I don't know. No, I don't know if it's that far, but I don't know about that.
I don't think this is a fluffy show, by the way.
I hope it's lifting people. It's making them feel good. I hope you've laughed with us today. I hope you've thought about things differently. I hope that it, makes your day or your week better.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, I have a user question of the week that I was asked by one of our listeners.
Oh, okay.
And it's directed to you. So I think it's really interesting. And that question is, I'm very frustrated at work because the people that work with me don't have the same sense of ownership that I do. And this is an employee, not an owner of a business, but works in government actually, and says he's frustrated because the people around him don't have the same level of commitment. How do you work through that?
He's an employee.
Yes.
Who's frustrated that the other employees aren't as serious about the work as he is.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, good news, Enneagram 1, which I would guess he probably is. Personality, he's a C on the disc, I would guess.
Okay.
Listen, he's got to come to, and let me just say this. Let me pretend I'm talking to him. Not everybody's going to. They're just not.
Right.
And if you stay in the mindset of everybody needs to think this is as important as I know it is, then you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Okay.
Because you have to give space for other personalities and other perspectives. And that guy who, is always cracking jokes and goofing around that drives you crazy actually keeps you sane.
Right.
Because he balances your over seriousness.
Sure.
Nobody reads your whole email, by the way. You should know. Nobody reads it. Make it brief.
I gotcha.
This is the kind of personality that writes long emails.
Right.
Lots of detail and many points to the email.
Yes.
Nobody's reading it. Learn how to be more brief in your presentations and lighten up. And understand you're one part of the team, and the team has to be multifaceted.
Yes.
If you had a team of just you, it would be
lonely.
A fight for the power. I'm saying, say there's a team of 4 people and they all have this personality.
I gotcha. Gotcha.
They're not going to get anything done because they're going to spend the entire time fighting for control of the project.
Okay.
Because they're all certain their way is the right way.
I think that's true.
So there's got to be other perspectives, other personalities. Embrace people's otherness. I would say, do some study on different personality types and the benefits they bring to the table. There's some great studies on the DISC personality that'll really help. That's the best thing you've said so far. So say that again. I think your advice to tell this person to go ahead and learn more about the other personalities in your world will help you understand better how they're thinking and how to communicate with them effectively. Absolutely.
And that might help you be less frustrated. Yeah. Learning what their personality, their perspective actually brings to the table, if you allow them to be. And here's the other thing.
somebody like this who's just frustrated with their coworkers
Yes.
because they're not as serious about the task at hand.
Mm-hmm.
They're not giving space. They're not holding space for their coworkers to be who they are. Therefore, they're not able to perform at their top ability.
Okay.
Because they feel judged and they feel maybe intimidated. They feel the frustration and they feel the judgment and they feel the disappointment from this person.
Oh.
And they're probably holding back a little bit because of it. But don't you want people to come into the fullness of what they have to offer and who they are? And, so you've got to give space for that. And in order to give space for that, you have to educate yourself about what their potential to bring to the table is and help pull that out of them, get everything they've got to give. And you'll see that there's real benefit to the different facets of the team.
I love that. I love that almost as much as the video and the pictures of J-Lo and Ben Affleck getting married in Las Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, well, thank you. If we're all the same, it's so boring. And you only get one perspective. Who wants one perspective? You can't be successful.
That's
It's got to be holistic.
Well, I learned when I was a young man in broadcast sales, so this was 25 years ago, I learned that you need a success team. You need people that you can rely on to help you be more successful.
Right.
And here's what I mean by that. I had the best sales assistant in the history of the world. His name was Dan. I don't know if he's still there at Citadel in Baton Rouge today, but that kid put together collateral better than anybody else and kept us focused. He kept us going in the right direction. Then I had my sales manager, Malcolm Adams, and he was, it was like Up with People. He was a big cheerleader. He helped me get going in the right direction every single day and gave me language to use in front of business owners.
Right.
That is part of my success for sure.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I can do business to business sales, thanks to him. So, yeah, you need a success team, and everybody needs to cheer for everybody else on the team, or it's not going to do as well.
Right. And give space for the creative process that other people have. Because listen, the crazy ideas that people have turn into greater efficiency and greater profits. I promise you, especially right now during a downshift.
Right.
You've got to welcome all the different perspectives, because even if something they say it doesn't pan out, something they say might key someone else to think of something else that does pan out. So just let people be who they are.
And just one last thing before I hit the music to end the show. I'm also mad because ABC, in their buy versus rent thing where they were telling people if you're not going to be there 5 years, you should rent instead.
Which is a lie.
It is a lie. They said nationally, home values this year are up 25% over last year. If that's true, everyone should have bought, because even if it cost 10% to get away, they made 15% on their money. It's the dumbest report I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's bad information.
Right.
I told someone last week, they said, but how do I know when is a good time to buy? I said, the right time to buy is always right now.
Well, that's true, because if you're thinking about buying, you have a need. If you have a housing need,
right,
and have the wherewithal to be able to buy, I can't think of a situation that's smarter to rent. I can't.
I mean, it's not like we have a 50-year track record of real estate going down.
Right.
It only appreciates.
And
sometimes it appreciates really fast, and sometimes it appreciates slower, but it always appreciates.
That's good. And that's a good place to hit the music.
Well, there you go.
Real estate always appreciates. I appreciate you.
Aw.
I usually hate that phrase, I appreciate you.
You have like a weird thing about it.
Well, because if you don't know me, how can you appreciate me? You might appreciate something I've done for you.
Okay.
But do you appreciate me? That's too intimate. I don't like it. You appreciate me. Guess what? We're married. You have knowledge that other people don't have.
All right, Your Honor.
This has been The Session with Londa and David. My name's David Austin, and I'm joined each and every week by Londa Joanne Sherwood Austin to talk business. It's a great time to be in business. Why not be in business with us? That is the slogan for Sherwood Austin Solutions. And if you want to talk to Londa today, you can call her at 509-491-2663. 509-491-2663. We'll talk again next week.